Strength. The human mind has a tendency to consider strength as something aggressive, something oftentimes overpowering, and endurance in difficulty, and yet love is the strongest of the virtues. Love is the strongest energy there is. Discipline. To be so aligned with yourself, so in love with yourself, that you will not leave yourself for a moment, which makes living now so much easier. Strength and discipline equal a devotion in the highest order. And the logical mind says, what does that mean? Devotion, being true, being faithful, being in love, all of those elements, those virtues, those aspects. Devotion has been considered a part of love. If you are in a relationship with someone that you love very much, there is devotion. Devotion to God. And yes, beloved masters, devotion to self. To be devoted to the life that you're living, to the choices that you are making, the commitment to be honest and true and clear and faithful in each choice that you make in your life. To consider, not think about, because that moves you into a place of weighing things. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? What if I make a mistake? What if, what if, what if? The strength aligns you. The discipline allows you to be present, now in this moment, clear, so that you're not looking through the distorted filters of the illusion. And that allows you to feel that connection to the divine within yourself. Devotion in the highest order. In this world, this human physical plane, where the end times of the old order of illusions and separation are clouding the vision of so many, like shadows and mist and the smoke of old fires of rage and vengeance that are dying out, and yet all over the planet there are fires in the physical world that appear, especially to those that are in the midst of them, those that are attempting to put them out. It's almost demonic, like the fires of hell. And it is the mind connected to the old ways would want to sit back in pompous judgment and say, they must deserve to be burned. And yet, beloved masters, love does not sit in judgment. Love loves. And yes, masters, there are difficult choices that require to be made. Quite frequently, the difficulty comes from the fact that the logical mind doesn't know all the answers. It doesn't have all the information. And that has, for such a long time, been a foundational issue for chaotic choice. Or staying in one spot and not moving because I don't have all the answers, I don't have all the information. I can't make a choice until I know everything there is to know. And in all honesty, there will never be a time when any being on this planet knows all there is to know, even about one subject. Because as you gather knowledge, information, it creates new wisdom. It deepens your connection to the wisdom that you've gathered throughout lifetimes. So, in these most chaotic times, when what you think you see out there keeps turning out again and again and again and again not to be what was there at all, not to be what appeared to be at all. This isn't about generating fear. Dearly beloved masters, there are enough situations, voices from different sides all over the planet that would put the mind in a tug of war. So this information ain't nothing what it seems. is not to stir fear, but to allow you to confirm within yourself, I felt that things were not as they appeared to be. And revelation has pulled the veil aside, taken down old walls, and what I felt was accurate. It was true. Not to take that information and go to others, see, I was right, because what they're discovering within themselves that may feel right and true to them may be different from what you discovered. The illusion said everyone must see things exactly the same way. Everyone must feel exactly the same feelings. Everyone must adhere to the same thoughts. And revelation is shining a brilliant spotlight on the whole planet to allow you to own and to see more clearly your own unique individuality, and to learn what discipline is. The ego mind is so afraid of being controlled. And yet, the idea of being in control is still very popular, though being in control can create a sense of struggle, and the more that revelation reveals, the less being in control is a path to a positive outcome. Because control has always been funded by fear. The need to be in control. The one who says how things will be. The one who has the authority. The one who dictates what everyone else must want, think, be, do in their life. What an overwhelming responsibility to have to control the lives of the people in your life, to have to always have the right answer, to have to always be able to solve everyone's problems. To always be right. And those that are in control are not necessarily strong, and certainly because control is a war game, it is that control is breaking apart. It's collapsing. The illusion would come up with an idea, present it, and the majority of people would say, yes, that's right, it makes sense, that's good, we'll do that. And the ones who didn't agree were punished in some way. But it is, beloved masters, the more that the planet is being flooded with love without a condition, the more strength you hold within yourself. Not that it hasn't been there, but that you didn't even know to look for it. And now it's becoming more obvious, it's becoming clearer, it's becoming more available. And the changes are actually showing you more and more and more of who you are. And a lot of people say, I feel so angry all of the time. Because fear has evoked change in a world that is based on control. And change is absolutely necessary to any kind of growth, to any kind of life. And so, to change begins to cause a wobble in foundations that were builded on control. And as you become more clearly aware, considerate, connected to the virtues, you operate at a higher and higher and higher level of frequency. And those that are desperately clinging to the old ways are finding that what they are clinging to, in many ways, just like the fires that are burning and the floods that are consuming, they're finding that their foundations framed in illusion are breaking apart, as though earthquakes, albeit they may be internal quakes, based on the fear of wanting to keep things just as they have always been, and finding that quite frequently they go back to some old idea or concept only to find that they really can't touch the energy that was based on, because in Revelation, the energy frequency of the whole planet is accelerating. And logic would say, but if it is accelerating, why does everything seem to be such a low vibration? Because the old low vibrations are breaking up. And that hum that isn't a resonance of spirit, it very clearly is not a frequency of higher consciousness. It may feel as though it is a grating, and it's not quite internal, but it's also not quite external. Many people feel it in their mind, and it touches into that consciousness that has controlled humanity for lifetimes on the planet. And what people are being brought to is the things they have wanted, asked for. Freedom, peace, prosperity, joy. And the logical mind says, I don't see any of that. It's not happening in my world. And certainly, beloved masters, if you turn your attention to the media, there is the push-pull of information. There is information that is certainly being shared that is true. And there is a place where the information is no longer offered. A certain situation, maybe before the media, a boat sinks and many people drown. Children that are brought in from other countries are separated from their families. And the media will focus, spotlight, different stories and go over it and over it and over it. And then suddenly it's gone. It's no longer there. Oftentimes, never a word is said again about that situation. And the test, beloved masters, of your strength and your discipline is to feel within yourself the ability to bless each difficult situation that is held before the conscious mind. Things that, after a while, began to engender fear, as people identify with the situation, what if those were my children, or what if that was my family? And the strength and the discipline hold you in a clear space of love right now. Right now. So that you began to clearly devote yourself, your life, your love, your consciousness, your superconsciousness to positive perspective. The reality of life is there is actually far more good than there is negative. But if you are not exposed to the positive things that are going on, if they are constantly dismissed as not newsworthy, because there's no drama in the good. Yes, beloved masters, there is not the heightened drama of constant conflict that engenders worry and sets up fear, no. But the goodness of life warms you. The goodness of life fills you. The goodness of life sustains you in these difficult times. And it is, dearly beloved masters, whatever is happening in the world today is a precursor to new understanding, to new awareness, to new clarity. And the old ways simply cannot continue. You cannot go back, because the way things are changing energetically, technology is shifting so dramatically, the frequency of the planet is accelerating, and even though it doesn't appear that way at all, the frequency of humanity is accelerating, which is why things that have been hidden for so very long are suddenly so obvious. Why didn't I see that before? Because you weren't ready. When you are ready, not when you think you're ready, or when you want to be ready, or even when you proclaim you're ready, but when there is that energetic shift. It may be as subtle as one click of a dial on a safe, or it may be as profound within you as a cosmic boom. But when you are ready, you become aware of things that are so important, so profound, so amazing, so life-altering, that were right at the tips of your fingers all along. And the possibilities and the potentials of making those discoveries is accelerating all the time. As we are speaking, things are changing. I say the word now, and it isn't any longer. It is the next now, and now, and now, and now. And we keep covering this similar, never exactly the same, but similar information to make sure that when whoever is ready hears this, then that key slips into the lock and opens a whole new level of awareness within and without.